Many people used to come to Lord Gautam Buddha to become his disciples. His door was open to all. Almost all disciples were welcomed to the evening discourses by the saints in his ashram. But to some newcomers, he would say, "Before you become my disciple, you must spend a whole night in the crematorium." One day, a young man came to Buddha and said, "Gurudev, make me your disciple." Buddha said, "Before accepting my discipleship, you have to spend a whole day and night in the deep crematorium and come back and tell me whatever you learn there. Then you will be able to join us in this ashram." The young man was frightened when he heard Buddha's words. He said, "It is not a problem to be in the crematorium during the day, but it is dangerous to be in the crematorium at night." Buddha asked, "Why dangerous?" The young man replied, "There are ghosts in the crematorium at night. They will catch me as soon as I get there." Buddha laughed a little and said, "Have you seen ghosts before? Or did they oppress you?" The young man said, "No, I have never seen but heard of ghosts, and I have seen some people in our village caught by ghosts. They do strange things. Then they go to an Oja or a spiritual healer or a tantric." This time Gautam Buddha laughed and said, "This is a golden opportunity for you to see with your own eyes from the crematorium at night. If there are ghosts, if you see them, you will analyze why they come and where they come from. And if you do not see them, analyze why there are no ghosts. Don't panic, don't be afraid. Come back and tell me everything that will happen there and whatever you will analyze." The young man obeyed Buddha and said, "As your order, Gurudev." Gautam Buddha instructed the young man, "Now rest in the ashram. You will go to the crematorium at dawn." Buddha said to his 4 favorite disciples, "Tomorrow a new young man will spend the whole day and night in the crematorium. Watch and take care of him, so that the young man may never realize that you are watching him." The next morning, the young man bowed to Buddha and left for the crematorium. The next day, the young man came back to Buddha. Buddha saw the young man and smiled softly and said, "Tell me what you saw and learned all day and night in the crematorium." The young man said, "Gurudev, going over there in the morning, I saw that several people came with a corpse. Of them, sad people were crying. Some 2 or 4 were saying very gladly that the man who passed away was very lucky and good. So there was no reason for mourning over his death. After a while, 2 corpses were brought together to the crematorium. Many people with the corpse of a rich man adorned with flowers, and a few with the corpse of a poor man were present. At first, with the ceremony, the rich man's pyre made of sandalwood was burnt, and then the pyre of the poor man was burnt in a very simple way. When cremations were over, the loved ones went back to their homes. Now that I saw 2 pyres burning, two pyres burned to ashes, I realized that the difference between the rich and the poor does not last on the last day. Then came the corpse of a wife. The husband was very sad, crying a lot. Some wise people in the group of the relatives were consoling the husband. At last, they also returned home after the cremation. I understand that we have only come to visit this world for a while, and all of us will turn to ashes on the last day. We should spend our life gaining knowledge and for the act of benevolence, because in the end we have to go to this cremation ground. Then it was night. Lord Buddha laughed and asked, "Did you see any ghosts?" "No, Gurudev. I spent the whole night in fear, but I didn't see any ghosts. I was terrified by the howls of the terrible beasts. I am the only one who knows what happened to me all night." Buddha heard everything and said, "Okay, now take some rest. Tomorrow you will spend the whole night in the crematorium." Hearing that, the young man said, "Do I have to go to the crematorium again?" "But why?" "I was so scared yesterday that I won't go a second time." Buddha said, "Oh young man, you didn't find anything in the crematorium yesterday. Go once more and you'll surely see that great thing." Then the young man bowed down and said, "Everything is your wish, Gurudev. Then I'll go to the crematorium again tomorrow morning." The next day, the young man went to the crematorium with the blessings of Buddha. After spending the whole day and night, the next day the young man came in front of Buddha and bowed. Buddha said, "What did you see this time? Did you get anything, my son?" The young man said, "Yes, Gurudev. I saw something in the crematorium that I had never thought of in my life." Buddha said, "Tell me what you have seen. What is the realization?" This time the young man began to say, "I saw some people in the evening carrying me on their shoulders to the crematorium. 20 or 25 of my near and dear ones were behind. Some people were spreading flowers on me. My parents and brothers were crying. They were very sad. 2 or 4 of the relatives were pretending to be sad, though they were happy at heart. Some people were consoling my father. 'You have to be tough. You have another child. You have to bring him up.' Some people cried in sorrow. 'Alas, what a tender age of this boy. He hasn't seen anything in the world, and he is not even married yet.' Then I was laid on the pyre. I wanted to hug my father for the last time, but I couldn't. I couldn't find strength and felt my body frozen. I tried hard to wipe away my mother's tears, but I couldn't. I tried, but I couldn't breathe. Then someone covered my face with a white cloth. My face was set on fire. There was an unbearable heat under my back, but I couldn't get up. Slowly, my body started burning. My arms, legs, and bones were burning. I couldn't get up. I couldn't breathe. Everything was burning and slowly turning to ashes. Parents and relatives all returned home. All night long, my pyre was burning in front of my eyes. Neither was I feeling any fear nor realizing day or night. I didn't even know where I was. Only in front of my eyes, I was burned to ashes. Then it was morning at the end of the night. I came back and now I am in front of you, Gurudev. Gautam Buddha closed his eyes and smiled and said, "Now you can stay in the ashram as my disciple. It is very necessary to have the seed of the meditation inside to acquire meditation and knowledge. It is that seed that you got in the crematorium yesterday. Now you know that everything in the world is mortal. All the people in this world, after going to the crematorium and seeing the cremations of others, understand that he too has to live one day. But when they come back from the crematorium, they again resort to greed, lust, and arrogance. They are all deliberate sinners. When you first went to the crematorium, you too, like the rest, came back like normal people. But when you went for the second time, you came back with the seeds of meditation. When you saw yourself to end and burn to be a handful of ashes, you realized the essence of life. No one can understand life until we know death and feel death. Just as a terminally ill person knows the real feeling of being healthy, just as a drowning person knows the feeling of breathing, the realization of death teaches us to live every moment anew. O disciple, the meditative seed that you have brought from the crematorium must be carried to your goal of enlightenment to realize life." Friends, after listening to the preachings of Gautam Buddha, you must write in the comment box what you have learned. May all be well and may life be fruitful.